This year marks the 60th anniversary of the Mercedes-Benz Grosser, which was built by Mercedes in 1963 to be the best car they could possibly build, regardless of cost. Owned by famous musicians such as Saddam Hussein and Chairman Mao, and dictators such as George Harrison and John Lennon, the Mercedes Grosser was the car for royalty, for good or for bad. One such very famous owner of the Mercedes-Benz Grosser is none other than Jeremy Clarkson, who bought one way back in the day for a challenge they did on his previous show, Top Gear. Now, Connor and I headed over to England because the Mercedes-Benz Club UK were hosting an event, which we are part of, to celebrate 60 years of the Grosser. And Jeremy's car happened to be there, driven by Chris Durrant, his personal chauffeur. A man who's been the most crack of anyone we've interviewed, any of the three. He was fantastic. Here's what he had to say about the Grosser. So I'm standing here with Chris, who has the luxury of being Mr. Clarkson's chauffeur. Now, I'm guessing he doesn't get chauffeured in the 600 Grosser every day.
No. We do have an array of different cars, and this one only comes out at special occasions. Yeah, very special occasions. So, for example, the last time it was actually used prior to today was when it was his daughter's wedding. So it's very, very special occasions. But it's a joy to come out. It's a joy to get out when it does.
And so I'm guessing, you can't go down to Mercedes and order another Grosser should anything happen. So I'm guessing it's much scarier than driving, say, his Range Rover or Bentley or any other thing. Is there any extra precautions you have to take when driving this? Or
working for Jeremy, I'm quite fortunate, and I drive a lot of different cars. Very, very high-end, expensive cars. So, despite the fact that this one is obviously very special and rare, I don't actually mind. It's not like I have to take any special precautions or anything like that. I mean, I am more careful with it, obviously, but with that said,
you're not standing there adjusting tappets before you go for a spin, like?
No, I just kind of tend to try and put that to the back of my mind, and just kind of carry on as if it's a normal car, and then you just relax into it. So yeah.
And so how long have you been doing the chauffeur in general, not just for Jeremy?
In general, I've been doing it probably, I was in the army originally. I kind of did it there in the army, and then I came out of the army, and I've been doing it privately now for about 12 years, roughly. Yeah, and I've been working with Jeremy coming up to 8. I think I'm in my 8th year for Jeremy now. So yeah, quite some time.
Trying to work back in time in my head. So that would have been just at the start kind of the Grand Tour sort of time?
Yes, exactly when the Grand Tour started. Yeah.
And have you noticed much of a shift for the time that you've been chauffeuring? I'm guessing you've known Jeremy since, not personally maybe, but like you've known of him. Have you noticed much of a shift in the type of people that you're seeing around when you take him to events and things? Because I reckon there's probably a lot more younger people interested in Jeremy now than there would have been before.
Yeah, well, obviously with the launch of the farming show and everything going on now, we've got a different kind of fan group.
Just get a load of cultures everywhere you go.
Literally. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, we get all different types of people. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have young fans. He has old fans, from like the old Top Gear days, as well as he has the new fans as well from like the farming show, for example. So yeah, there's constantly seeing different array of people. So yeah, it's pretty.
So do you just go all around the world with them then, or?
I used to. I mean, unfortunately, Jeremy is not present today because he's in Africa currently filming the last of the Grand Tour.
A Lancia Beta of some kind, I think I've seen.
Yeah.
Is it just like a nostalgia trip he's having? Is he going through something? Or?
He said that he wanted to go back to the favourite place the most favourite place he's ever filmed, which was Botswana. So I think they end up finishing there or wherever. I don't know exactly, but certainly that's where he is at the moment. So that's why he isn't here today. I did used to travel around the world with him, but I don't so much now. I film the farming show now instead, or I assist a camera assistant on.
You're keeping people off the lawn.
Literally that. Yeah, we get a lot of fans come up there, so especially with the farm shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously, being a man of shall we say controversy, do you ever get into any hassle? Like, did you ever come out of somewhere like I have to lift him and there's 20 people standing here, they're looking to kill him, what am I going to do?
Thankfully not. No, it's actually quite the opposite. We step out somewhere and he gets 20 people just wanting selfies. Yes. I'd say despite the fact he's controversial and about some of the things he says, he's loved by a lot more people than he's hated.
The empty can rattles the most, as they say.
Exactly that, yeah. So no, I mean it's obviously, like I say, I worked for him quite some time now, and it's always been for as long as I can remember, it's always been fans just wanting selfies and autographs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, he's very popular man, very popular man.
I know, I've been a fan since I was a kid. One of my earliest memories actually watching the show Motor World years ago when he went to Texas and he interviewed like ZZ Top. I was maybe about this tall and I was like, I really like that. He always reminds me of Jonathan Creek, but don't tell him that. So, did he give you like a history lesson on the 600, or are you personally interested in the likes of these cars?
There's a personal interest, but he has given me. Well, he gave me a history lesson on his particular one, not so much the other ones.
Am I right in thinking that he's had this since like one random episode of Top Gear years ago where they bought a grocer and I think James bought a roller of some kind?
Correct, yeah.
That's some memory.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's a very good memory. I can't remember. It's a Rolls Royce of some sort that James had. Silver Shadow, yeah, something like that. And yeah, correct, yeah. And obviously they just had like head-to-head competition against each other, and I think Jeremy's ended up winning. But other than that, I think it was after that show aired that he decided to actually purchase it. Because that's
So he purchased it, he doesn't get given it per se.
Oh, no, he definitely bought it. 100% he bought it, yeah. So I think if my memory serves, I think it was his ex-wife at the time. She bought it for him as a Christmas present or something like that.
From the show? From
the show, I think. Yeah, don't quote me on that, but I think that might have been the case. And then obviously when he bought it, what he's told me is that the right-hand seat was all collapsed and it was ripped. It had a ripped back seat, etc. And he spent quite a bit of money in doing it up because that's not the original interior. Right, okay. Only the roofline is the interior that the original was. The actual original colour was cream. So yeah, he
was green.
Cream or green? Yeah, questionable.
Yeah, I mean the 70s was a different time, I suppose.
But yeah, he spent quite a bit of money and time, sending it away and getting it all done up and everything. And it's came back and it's just beautiful. It really is stunning.
So these cars were never really bought by your average Joe like myself and Connie, who buy like £300 marks and hope they'll get somewhere. Did he get any history, or did they know that this was owned by somebody? Did some dictator own it by any chance? I'm sure Jeremy would love that. But
I don't know. Like I say, don't quote me on this, but he did. I'm sure he told me at one point, and we're going back some years, that it used to be owned by the Chinese ambassador.
Right, okay.
But I don't know whether that's correct or not. If someone else would have to do the history check on that to make sure. But
I just take it to copy it then.
Yeah. But yeah, as far I think that's true. But like I say, you'd have to do a bit of research on that. Yeah.
So how often, like being an automotive journalist, everybody probably expects him to drive himself.
True.
Not to put you out of a job here, but how often does an automotive journalist use a chauffeur? Is it special occasions, or is it day to day, or?
So you'd be surprised with Jeremy because he's quite partial to rosé wine. So the two, driving and rosé, don't really go together very well.
Not these days, no.
No. So that's where I come into play. So he can drink as much rosé as he wants and still be able to get home. So yeah. So you'd be surprised, despite the fact that he's the world's leading motoring journalist or whatever, that he still needs to be driven around. And also it's also the convenience of having a driver. If he's got a very important meeting in London or whatever, it's a nightmare to try and park anywhere these days, so whereas I just pull up right outside the office and he just walks in. So it's the convenience more than anything else as well.
And I'm not asking for registrations or tricks of the trade or anything, but do you have a go-to in his fleet that you would say, or does he decide, pick me up in this?
So he's got Bentley Continental GT, not GT, sorry, Bentley Continental Flying Spur. Which is
I'm not au fait, but is that higher spec or is that lower spec? Was he being fancy that day, or?
Well, it was his 60th birthday present to himself. So that's kind of like our London car. So that's the one that sits on the M40 going up and down all day long, and around London, of course. And then
sorry, what was that speed?
Yeah,
we'll edit that out.
Yeah, cut that one out. And then as for any other cars, he just potters around in his green Range Rover, or I'll take him out if he's going shooting or whatever. I'll take him out in the green Range Rover.
Animals, I'm guessing, yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, honestly, he doesn't really have a massive car collection. Not really, He's got some special ones that we had like on the Grand Tour and stuff.
And like the Alpha.
Yeah, the GTV6. Yeah, so that's a nice one. That's in the garage as well. And he's got I don't know if you remember.
No. Or is it...
No. No, it's lovely polished, sat in the container. Oh, sorry, no, sat in the garage. And then he's got the Excellent, which I think he ended up taking to Chelsea Football Club or something. Yeah, which is like a monster truck thing. Yeah, so he's got that as well. And then there's a Lincoln. He's got this massive 18-foot long Lincoln that only just
Continental,
yeah, Continental 5. Which
ever been worried about being shot in it or anything?
No. That's not the quickest car, so it's not like he'd be able to get away anyway. But yeah, no, and that's it really. Like I say, they're cool, but they're not it's not like he's got a fleet of Ferraris or Lamborghinis or anything like that. He's just got some nice cars that appeared on the show, so obviously they've got some relevance. And And yeah, they're just fairly normal, you know. It's like everyone always presumes, you know, that when I open the garage and everyone's, oh, can I see the cars? They all just expect to see like,
It's not Jeleno's garage, like.
yeah, like just walking in, you know, Mercedes-Benz world, for example. They just expect that, and it's just not that at all. It's not really that at all. It's very, very low key and very cool. Really, that's what I'd say it was. So,
Well, here, thank you so much for this. This has been brilliant. It's a pleasure to meet you.
you too, mate.
Thank you.
You too.
Now, a sensible man would have went and changed his t-shirt so it made it look like this was recorded on a different day for continuity reasons, but I'll be honest, I didn't think that far ahead. I don't have Connor here with me right now, so this is all off the cuff. But thank you so much to Chris Durrant for spending some time with us to chat shit about cars and about what it's like to be a personal chauffeur, and for letting me be in the parade lap at the end and driving around for an hour and just chatting away. It was a lot of fun. If you're thinking to yourself, this isn't what you guys normally do, I know, but sure, what do? You see an opportunity and you take it. We'll be back to the garage very, very soon. We've got a new project coming. I won't say what it is, but what I will say is it's a big cat. And people who know me know what a big cat means. Yes, I'm very excited. So thank you very, very much. Thanks again to Chris. Jeremy, if you happen to be watching this, give us a wee shout, because we're huge fans. The other two could take or leave, but you know. Yes, thank you very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, tell your friends, slag us to your friends, whatever you prefer, really. Check me on Instagram at tomo.pattison. Check Connor on Instagram at Hughes Corporation. Check our channel out on Instagram at 427 Motorsports. Big thanks to Ryan Dowd for coming with us for the weekend to basically be camera bitch. All we did was hand him equipment and say, please hold this. So sometimes we didn't even say please. I owe him many beers, I think, for that. Thanks very much for everyone who came up to see us the weekend, and we'll chat to you later. Good luck.